Alright, we're back for match 1. On the play. 4 lands. Can't do it. This hand's a little bit better. We put back Skewer because it's the most awkward card. Don't know how I feel about the rolling vortexes in the main, but we're trusting in Ari Lax. So Burn obviously has been performing much better of late in the hands of a lot of people because the ring has really shifted the meta to kind of clunky mid-range piles. Obviously in the friendly league things are a little bit more bizarre, but we don't get scammed. Guess we'll find out. Turn 1. No, we are not getting scammed, but we are getting living ended. Alright, so we're going to get Rolling Vortex down here. Alternatively, we can go Goblin Guide, Lava Spike, which I think we're going to do. We only have one chance really to resolve this, so hopefully they don't have Force of Negation. Straight Wraith, sure. Not a card they really want to draw in this matchup. It goes to 10. Don't usually see Breeding Pool out, or Blood Crypt out of some of these living end decks, although they have been changing how they do things lately. Guess let's just leave that in play for now. Does it resolve? Feeling pretty good about this game. It's nice to steal game 1 against Living End because they usually have some amount of Ley Lines of Sanctity. Though I'm not sure what color our opponent's Living End deck is right now. I would presume they're Living In with Street Wraith and Generous End, but alright, and our opponent concedes. So going to Ari's sideboard guide for his unique take on Burn. Four Searing Blaze, 1 Skullcrack out. Board in. The 4th Vortex. 2 Rest in Peace. 1 Chalice. 1 Eidolon. Yo. Hand seems pretty good overall. 2 of our hate pieces and Partridge in a Pear Tree.
It's not Christmas.
Goblin Guide. Cycle their Strict Riverwinder. And Subtleties our Goblin Guide. Question is, do we put that on top or bottom? I think we put it on top. And pass. Alright. Opponent's missing land drops, so I think we can afford to deploy the Goblin Guides this turn. Do we reveal a land? No, we reveal a weaker of waves. Mountain cycling, sure. Why wouldn't you just cycle that instead of some of your other ones the last couple of turns? I don't know. Okay, probably is Furious George here to punish our Goblin Guides. Alright, maybe just jam Vortex here. Hope they don't have Force of Negation on top of Subtlety and whatchamacallit. What I don't understand though is why you would Subtlety if you had Fury in a hand. But okay. Opponent taking 5 to Thoughtseize. Seems pretty middling. It has a unique build, but yeah. Feels like they might have too much going on. Alright, we're back for match number 2. Not the ideal hand, obviously, as we don't have a 1-drop creature, but 15 points of burn seems reasonable enough. Suspend Riftbolt on 1, then go from there. Opponent, Blackcleave Cliffs, Monkey. So, especially in burn heavy hands, I don't like doing this, but Monkey is just such a pain that sometimes you have to kill it. Suspend the Riftbolt first. Hold up Lightning Bolt and pass. They scam us. It obviously is kind of annoying, but I really don't want to take 5 from Rolling Vortex. Orcish Bowmasters, huh? Okay. Well. Maybe they aren't scam? Because I don't think most variants of scam usually play Mishra's Bauble. As for 2. Go face with the bolt. Opponent draws a card. Obviously, this is a bit scary if they have another Bowmasters, as we are going to be behind the race, but looks like they do. No, they start Bolt. Okay. Could have a Grief here, which would kind of suck. It's like, do we shock in to play a Grief? for Seasoned Pyro, or do we just get a red source and pass? It is kind of a tough decision, actually. Okay, decide to... Oh. Well, that's much worse. Oh, we're definitely not playing against Scam. Try to draw something off of this. Go 4. And we're dead. Okay, Vortex definitely not good in this matchup. Presume they're a ring-based deck. But I still... that out. Skullcrack. I don't know how I feel about this with them potentially being on like an Aspiring Spike-esh version of Scam. Or not Scam, but like Rakdos Midrange with the One Ring and Shieldred. Don't honestly know. Yes. Too many lands. Too many lands again. Alright, decent enough for a... five-card hand, I guess. Hopefully they don't have a Fury to punish us for this draw, but not much we can do about it otherwise. Okay, Shocking, Monkey, nope, Bolt. Okay. Alright, well, do the protection from your deck, go. Well, except for Diabolic Edict, but... or... the edict that they have. Good day and good fortune. More of a, guess we'll risk them hitting something off top of our deck. Okay, they are, wow. DRC in a deck that has Shieldred. That is certainly something. DRC, Monkey, Orcish Bowmasters, and Shoulder. So they're definitely not scam per se. So I have no idea. Okay. We're playing pitch this time. Just collective brutality, kill one of our dudes. Alright. Just gonna hold up Skullcrack here. I mean, we obviously would get one more point of damage. DRC. I'm presuming that's going after Swift Spear. But that at least explains the bobble. Shadow Spear is mildly terrifying. Alright, well, draw. Make sure we sacrifice this one. Alright, and opponent does have ways to deal with it. So it looks like they are Rakdos. Where is this saga? I don't really think that changes how we want to board the matchup either way, because Vortex is like good against their life gain aspect, but really not good against a creature heavy deck generally. So keep it. Hope we don't get too lambasted by stupidity. Turn on Thoughtseize. You gotta take Goblin God here, right? One agrees. Turn one. Goblin God, go. Sanctifier, Invecte, go. Okay, they are in fact a Urza Saga deck. It's kind of annoying. Okay. Wait, what? Target. Wait a sec, that can't be right. Alright, for some reason it says the wrong thing, but. Okay, they take a Boros charm, which is not surprising. I think they're going to be on the robots game plan. Maybe we'll get lucky and they won't have a third land. Apparently they don't. It goes to 14. Maybe they have like Bowmasters or something here. Alright. plays. Got 12. Let's draw a bunch of cards here. Dashing monkey go. It's just going to die to the Searing Blaze you don't know about. Something like that. Turns out Sanctifier and Vex still good against a Rakdos deck, even if it doesn't have scam elements to it. Shocking, I know. And concession incoming. Alright. Nice. Backflash number 3. Play. Hands alright. One of the downsides of not playing with the third 1-drop is you lack the as explosive openings with no DRC or monkey in the list. So, and Searing Blaze is not good against Tron. So life total is generally not relevant against Tron, but don't know if they're on Green Tron or something else. Apparently they're on a natty Tron draw. No. Weird. They did keep 7, right? No, they mulliganed to 6. Still don't know if they're Ravi Tron, Prison Tron, Green Tron. Let's pass here. Expedition map. Get the final Tron piece. Put them to 4. Unfortunately, 4 is not. Okay. We'll risk suspending Rift Bolt, but if they have the ring, obviously it gets really awkward. Their best play otherwise for them would be, what, Karn to the ring? Okay, so they have Karn into something. Just comes down to a matter of what that something is. Trinisphere would be annoying. Chalice on 3. Go 1. Go face, gets countered by Chalice. Alright, let's start by draw. While getting Mountain, then drawing. That works too. Does he have Tron on his? Ironically, he does. Could consider Deflecting Palm, but it's only really good against Worm Coil. And a lot of their deck almost anymore is more of a prison element to it. So kept a 7-carder. We're keeping this even though it has 4 lands. So immediately draw into another land. Seems about right. I have no idea. Okay, so these Tron lists have been doing a lot of weird stuff lately. This could just be blue Tron, which is... wow. Okay. Okay, they are in fact blue Tron. Just put it on top. Well, it's got Boon, Remand, 2 unknown, 3 unknowns. So it's going to eat a Remand because they have nothing better to do with their mana. Yeah. So does tell them that we really have nothing going on, but reality is we don't, so sure. Alright, well, 3-0. Alright, back from match number 4. Play. Hands are reasonable enough, even without a 1-drop. Pass. Mishra's Bubble. Okay. Is it with these Blood Crypts and Mishra's Bubble decks? Only thing I can possibly think of is maybe Grixis Shadow. Bowmasters does not line up particularly well against Burns creatures. Even if they chump block here, Swift Spear still sticks around. Bowmasters again. Feels like they do. Okay, so they get to kill one Swift Spear, block the other. Sure. Do they risk a double block or do they just chump? Okay, so they're just chumping, which is fine. No, so are they playing a Croxa, or what are they playing here? Blood Moon, maybe? DRC into Voidwalker. Blocks, obviously they're dead. Pass. So if you're our opponent, you have to start clocking things. You're just going to get burned out eventually. Yeah, I don't even care about Swift Spear at this point. We have more than lethal in our hand. So, even regardless, still think we board very similarly to what we would against Scam. Skullcrack out, Vortex is out, 4 copies of Sanctifier and back in. Pretty reasonable hand against our deck. Still don't know if they're on a Scam variant, but unlikely with... Okay, DRC I think we just let live. Like, don't get me wrong, DRC is... Oh my. Okay. Now I see what they're up to. Alright. They're an interesting deck. They try to combo, like, Hollow One and stuff with Burning Tree Emissary. Or not Burning Tree, with Burning Inquiry. like Hollow One. I wonder if our first round opponent was playing Saga, so. Alright, Blaze is pretty good there. Kind of splits the difference between having to bolt one of their dudes and suspend a Rift Bolt. Okay, Bowmasters, sure. Downside for their deck is they're just taking so much damage. Yeah, you don't have a choice. You have to attack. Go to 12. Play a Swift Spear. Even with Bowmasters here, you're kind of forced into a line you don't want to take. Got one more. Yep, let's see what they do with the Chump, chump. No chump. Okay. Well, decisions are made. Those decisions did not end well for the opponent. All right, 4-0. Can we finally get a 5-0? Back for our fifth and final match. And it's pretty good. One drop into spells. So situations like this, I think you lead on Sacred Foundry, holding the Wooding Foothills for Searing Blaze. And Swift Spear into either to 19, go. Living Under Shadow, which one are you? Either one's still possible, I suppose. I think we try Skullcrack here. It's the most mana efficient play. And if they're Shadow, they'll be tempted to do this to Stubby D it, and if they're Living In, this gets the most damage out of our stuff. Okay, looks like they're just living. Well, they could still, I guess, potentially be Shadow. Okay, they are in fact Living In. Okay. I'm gonna grab Basic Forest, so they're at least minimizing their damage. So I was gonna say Waker Waves main phase, pitching a Living End. Okay, that is not the card we wanted to see. But what we're going to do is this. They could force of negation this, which I guess is fine. So we'll put them to 6. If we're lucky, they'll have Violent Outburst and do it during our turn, which will make Force of Negation effectively useless. Looks like they're just continuing to miss land drops, which is both a blessing and a curse. Alright, so we're going to put them to 5. Again, still really hoping they're on Violent Outburst and not Shardless Agent. Well, this means if they have Force of Negation, they are going to kind of get us. Alright, so we won game 1, which is very important in this matchup. Though I do like the sheer amount of hate that Ari has for this deck. That, a skill crack against Chalice, Rest in Peace, Eidolon, and Roiling Vortex. One of Eidolon is just so bizarre. Just have to mulligan this hand. Doesn't have any other hate pieces, and it's a little... Okay, this hand at least has early creature pressure. Doesn't have any of our true hate cards, but because Eidolon really only hits them for 4. And this hand is decent against Leyline. Because we have the creature start. Granted, I'd love to draw one of our Vortexes or Rest in Pieces or Chalice. So it's always interesting to see when a pro Magic player gets a hold of a deck and puts their own spin on things. Like they think just enough outside the box that you see some different stuff. Yeah, I figure we're going to be facing a Leyline. Just hopefully the rest of their hand is kind of middling. One of the nice things about this version of Living End is with them only playing 15 or 16 lands, Goblin God is less likely to give them things. Force of Negation, good one to know about. which means whatever chalice or anything that we would draw is going to be countered, unfortunately. Normally I haven't been a huge proponent of... Okay, so they're actually getting rid of the force of negation. So maybe they already have a force of negation in hand? Do they shock in here? No. Fetch a basic. Eidolon, yo. Guess they could have subtlety for that. Can't afford to miss any damage here, so not click through combat steps. Oh, they still draw force of negation, sure. With the blues. Oh, yep. Spelling another generous int. So they will have the clock. Just presume you get basic forest here, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Living End. Yep. Eidolon puts them to 10. Generous Ents. They get food tokens, and so even if we had a way to legitimately win this game, which we don't, the food tokens would put us out of range. Alright. Moving along. Click submit. Like, we could have tried to mulligan to a hand with a hate card, but even if you have hate cards against them, you know, them just hard casting like Curator and stuff is like, if you go down to like 3 or 4 cards and have like a hand of like 2 lands, Rest in Peace, Bolt or something, then you have no pressure and they just have infinite time to draw, you know, castable threats. So 1 lander. I think we can maybe do better on 6. Sand would probably qualify as better. So we will keep, probably put back Skewer the Critics. Opponent kept 7, so we're in a world of trouble. But they don't notably have Leyline, which is good-ish. All right. going to say, they have to grief us here. Which means goodbye to one of the Vortexies. Hope they don't have Force of Negation. Yep, it's really kind of hard to beat these kind of draws. So they have to have either an Oliphant or whatchamacallit in hand, because you only kept a hand with Sunken Ruins. That's just not good enough mana-wise. Yeah, I was going to say, they have to have an Elephant or a Generous End. So they've been able to answer both of our hate cards so far. Why would they get Stomping Ground? Turn, we're guaranteed to have Swift Spear in play. And 8. Force of Negation. It doesn't matter what we draw next turn. No, we need to draw runner. This is a two-turn clock, so. Because Elephant pumps the grief, which deals us 11. So if we draw a land, we have a redraw, but very limited hits. And clearly, if they have Force of Negation, we're just dead. So they've already used one, though. So all right, do you have the Force? Holy crap! We got the 5-0. Alright, they're back with our first 5-0 in a bit. So, really didn't know what to make of this list. When I saw it in the article, there are some unique choices compared to what's been seen in Burn of late. No Eidolon in the main deck, Nothing too fancy anymore these days. A lot of it comes down to, do you want more 1-drops or do you want Rolling Vortex? Rolling Vortex seemed to serve us reasonably well in this league with 2 Living End matches. The rest of Burn, the main deck, nothing too fancy. The one of Helix, 4 Skullcrack, all of that seems fine. The 3 Sacred Foundry 2 Mountain, not sure how relevant that is, but when you're playing this many Sanctifiers and Core Firewalkers in your sideboard, makes some amount of sense, even if it is a little bit more painful. No Fiery Islet, perfectly fine with that. I find that card to be a bit of a drain on the life total. Sideboard is interesting. You have your usuals. You have the X number of Sanctifier and Vec. You have Smash the Smithereens for your Chalices, your Urza Saga decks, your Hammer Time, etc. So none of this is too... this is rather standard fare. Rest in Peace. Well, I haven't been a big fan of Rest in Peace in quite some time. Probably since Faithless Looting got banned. I probably haven't registered a Rest in Peace in a Boros burn deck. But with the uptick of Living End being probably either the number 1 or number 2 deck in the format overall behind 4-color Omnath Ring, I'm perfectly fine. Couple Firewalkers, if you're going to occasionally run into the Burn Mirror, seems fine, as Burn overall seems to be pretty well positioned from what I've seen of people playing the deck. Still hasn't put up huge numbers and challenges and stuff, but still seems to be doing reasonably well in leagues. Both GG's and my recent leagues have been quite successful with Burn. And the deck seems to line up quite well against the clunky mid-range meta that we're in. But the rest of the sideboard with the 1-ofs, the 4th Vortex makes sense in a lot of matchups. You want it against the Cascade decks. You want it against the Life Gain decks. That's perfectly fine. 1-of Deflecting Palm, I never liked this card, but having it as a 1-of, fine. Eidolon as a 1-of is a little bit weird, especially since there's none in the main, but it's another hate card you can board in Cascade matchups, etc. And you never hate to see one Eidolon. It's always multiples that were kind of annoying sometimes. And then the 1-of Chalice, just diversifying your Cascade threats. Chalice on Chalice on turn 1, Vortex on 2, say Rest in Peace on 3, especially if you're on the play. Kind of diversifies your ability to play, I hate Peace on 1, I hate Peace on 2. So the opponent's a little bit harder pressed to answer those cards. So, that said, after a 5-0, it's really kind of hard to argue with the results, but we did run into some pretty reasonable matchups. Mono Blue Tron's always felt like a reasonable matchup for Burn. Living End's always been close, probably tilted a little bit in favor of Living End lately with the adoption of 3-4 Leyline Sanctity. Us bringing Rest in Peace and Chalice into the mix probably comes closer to balancing that. And then the 2 Rakdos matchups, any type of black X mid-range deck that isn't doing something broken on turn 1 or turn 2 generally has been a pretty good historic matchup for Burn. Whether it's been Jund or the old Jund mid-range decks, Jund Saga, Scam if they don't have a Scam opening. Now these Rakdos mid-range decks that we run into, the Hollow One variant, and the other one I think was just Rakdos mid-range because they showed us Shouldered. Shouldered's a powerful card, and don't get me wrong, in a turn 5, turn 6 game against Burn, that 2 life gain a turn can add up quite quickly, but when it comes down, it's still, other than deal 2 during your draw step, is still a do-nothing card. Unlike Omnath, where they drop it, play fetch land, gain life. Like I said, I'm not sure if they were playing the ring or not, but they looked like they were playing some type of Urza Saga package with multiple Springleaf drones. Don't know how I feel about that, but win is a win, right? 5-0. It's been a minute. feels good to, you know, win a little bit, but there's still some DRC burn to come in the coming weeks. I just wanted to get this list out of my system, as I saw he'd written an article recently, but there will be a couple more DRC weeks to come. Someone did ask that we try Thunderous Wrath with DRC. We might do that somewhere down the line, but GG just did a video on that a couple weeks ago, and it feels a little bit too gimmicky right now for Burn. When Burn's finally in a sweet spot in the meta, I don't think you want to be messing with the recipe, especially since Burn has been on a downtick for so long before the ring got printed. So who knows, you might see it at some point, but for now, I think we'll stick closer to the stock lists and see how the meta does. But if you like Burn content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hope to see you in the next video.